see quite a lot of people sleeping around. What do you want? I'm not filming you. Je te filme pas, qu'est-ce que tu racontes? I'm in Eastern Paris, near Place de la Bastille. Today I will walk from here to Bataclan and then to Place de République. I will walk from one of the areas most closely associated with the terrorist attacks of the 13th of November 2015. So today we will see how this district feels more than 10 years later. So let's start. So here on this square, where the column is, a long time ago there used to be a fortress, Bastille fortress, that was built at the end of the 14th century, and that stood here till the 14th of July 1789, when during the Revolution Parisians rose up and stormed the Bastille. But this column here on this square now does not symbolize the revolution of 1789, but it symbolizes the revolution of 1830, the three glorious days when Parisians rose up against King Charles X, who wanted to restrict the press and who wanted to tighten royal power. So Parisians rose up and overthrew him. So this column here is here to pay tribute to those who died during this revolution. At the top you can see the genius of liberty. So now we are on Rue de Charonne. So we are getting closer to La Belle Équipe café, one of the main cafés where people were shot during those attacks. You see La Belle Équipe here. So it was here that around 20 people were gunned down. 21 people died here exactly, and more were injured. And it happened on a Friday night while people were partying and many were outside the cafe. So it was purposefully done at that time and at this place. They knew what type of demographics would be here mostly. And one fact that people often glossed over is the fact that those attackers specifically targeted non-believers. So they chose these areas purposefully. So one example to prove this, during the 2021-2022 trial, the only surviving attacker said, "We targeted non-believers. If we hit Muslims, that was an accident on our part." So he said this after someone whose sister died and who was Muslim asked him why he killed her, and that's what he responded. And another thing to mention is that a few days after the attacks, some survivors reported to the Guardian newspaper that they saw one of the attackers sparing the life of a man who looked North African after saying, "You're one of us," and then he shot the person next to him instead. So now we are getting closer to Boulevard Voltaire. So it's the city hall of the 11th arrondissement. And we are on Boulevard Voltaire now. So yeah, we are on Boulevard Voltaire, and it's one of the greatest French writers. He's mostly known for his philosophical stories, such as Candide. But Voltaire is much more than that. He has written hundreds of books, thousands of articles, and so his work is gigantic, massive. And one thing to mention about him is that he broke the taboos of his time. So obviously the taboos of his time were different from the taboos we face nowadays. So he had to be exiled many times. He was kind of adventurous. He's inspiring in a way because today there are many taboos in the West that needs to be broken. And Voltaire would be alive today. I'm sure he would voice his opinion. He would be controversial. And nowadays, the French justice system would probably pursue him for hate speech if he voiced his opinion on different matters, whether it's egalitarian dogmas, his opinions on different populations, on race, and so on. So now we are very close to the Bataclan. So it's here that the Bataclan is, with a cafe next to it. So that was the main site of the attacks. At least 90 people died here, and many more were injured, including people who were severely injured for life. And obviously, the attackers did not choose that place just by chance, because that night there was a concert by Eagles death metal, so rock metal concert, and you can guess what kind of demographics attend those kind of concerts. I can show you a picture of the room a few minutes before the attack. And obviously in France, the vast majority of white people are not Muslims. If there was a rap music concert that night, on Friday the 13th, I wonder if the attackers would have chosen to attack this venue that night. I wonder. And that's in this street, through this door particularly, that many people left urgently the room, including some that jumped out of the windows. And one thing to note is that in the aftermath of these attacks, one of the main concerns of the French authorities was that few images from inside the Bataclan and other places, and few audios also, few videos, would be released on the internet. So they explicitly asked Twitter at the time, Facebook, and other social media platforms to remove images, audio, videos from inside the Bataclan or from other cafes. One can suspect it was to prevent French people from being angry at what happened, after what happened, and to prevent them from reacting. And it's still the case today, actually, like so many images from so many videos, so many audios from those attacks. Actually, some that I saw, first, many of them were never released in the first place, but the few that were released, many of them are very hard to find, even nowadays. And even during the 2021-2022 trials, some images, some audios of the attacks were released in the court, but only in the court. Even the victims and the civil parties that were remotely attending, remotely listening to and seeing the trial could not see, could not hear some of the audios, some of the images, some of the videos. Like they really don't want the general public to really know the full extent of what happened. So this is also one cafe that was targeted during the attacks. 5 people died here, at least 5, and more were injured. It's called Bonne Bière. And another one next to it, I think it was Casa Nostra, but I think it's closed now. I think it was around here. So here we are along Canal Saint-Martin, Saint-Martin Canal. And I'm heading towards other cafes where the attacks occurred. So you see those two were targeted here. So le Carillon here and le Petit Cambodge over there. So among those two, I think there was around 13 people that lost their lives and more were injured. There was a fire here. As you could see, it's an area where there was a lot of damage on the windows and a lot of graffitis and so on. So it's an area where there are often a lot of demonstrations, almost all the time by left-wing groups, or migrants sometimes. So often a bit messy in that area, on that square. Like the monument was cleaned, but it's quite common to see it full of tags and graffitis. So this is the Republic Square with the monument here. So Marianne at the top, she embodies the Republic. And below, there are the allegories of liberty, equality, fraternity. And there is a lion with the urn next to him representing universal suffrage. So here it's written to the glory of the French Republic, Paris City, 1883. So here you can see the allegory of equality. This one, the allegory of fraternity, looking tenderly at two kids below her. Those two kids are reading a book, so they must represent knowledge. So quite a lot of people sleeping around here. This one is the allegory of liberty, holding a torch. And here, on the first cylinder, there are reliefs representing events. So here you can see the storming of the Bastille. So we were at Bastille Square, Place de la Bastille at the beginning of the video. This relief represents the moment they stormed the fortress, the Bastille fortress. Various reliefs, so it would be too long to describe all of them. So this one is about a battle over here. And this one is a battle also. So this guy here was insulting me. But anyway, here on the 29th of July, 1830, it's a day where the revolution of the Three Glorious Days occurred. The July Revolution. So the column you saw at Bastille Square at the beginning of the video was about this event, this revolution. At the time when this monument was built, what do you want? I'm not filming you. Je te filme pas, qu'est-ce que tu racontes? This allegory of fraternity. So at the time, when this monument was built in 1883, France was still a homogeneous nation, ethnically homogeneous. So there was obviously some fraternity at the time. Now what we have, including the guy that was shouting at me and others, I think there is less fraternity now with the demographic change that occurred over the past decades. Some people still call Paris a movable feast, Paris est une fête, quoting Hemingway's book. But at the time, Paris was probably a feast, but nowadays it's less the case. So let me know in the comments what you think about this area of Paris, from Bastille to Bataclan to République. Like and subscribe, and see you for the next video.